So today I want to share with you a light that's been in my heart, kind of brewing in my heart over the last few days or a few weeks, which has been kind of a fruit of a personal spiritual rant moment with God in prayer after realizing that a lot of people nowadays are both striving but also struggling with this reality of the occasions of sin. We say that in the act of the act. We say that in the act of contrition. I firmly intend never to offend you again and to avoid the near occasion of sin. And when you work with youth, and if you're a parent listening to this or a leader in some way, in a spiritual way, and when you're guiding young people or others or friends in a spiritual way, we always talk about avoiding the near occasion of sin. We're always talking about kind of setting up your day and your life to not allow the occasion of sin to be strong or present. The human translation of occasion of sin is the trigger, right? What triggers the temptation which leads me into sin. And we try to avoid that, and we want to, because it's not just avoiding sin, but it's avoiding the occasions that allow the temptation to come in, right? And we have a lot of occasions of sin, a lot, through social media, technology, through people, circumstances, spiritual circumstances that provoke not so spiritual or religious or virtuous reaction, right? So what are these occasions of sin? And we talk about this all the time, or maybe not enough, but it's there. So at one point, talking to Jesus, and I was saying, Lord, how do I help people avoid occasion of sin? And how do I myself avoid occasion of sin in a way that's more constructive and not fearful and actually works? Because to avoid sin doesn't really necessitate the actual living of virtue. And so at one point I was like, what is the complete opposite? What is the opposite of the occasion of sin? The occasion of grace. The simple thought was, why not? Why not? Instead of striving to avoid the occasion of sin, we strive to foster and place and fill our day and our lives with the occasions of grace. And you start thinking in a very parallel way, what are the occasions of sin that we just mentioned earlier? Technology, the world, people, circumstances, all these things that are already probably part of our lives. How do we make the occasions of grace counter that? People who inspire us, surrounding ourselves with good friends, surrounding ourselves with good conversations, good opportunities to live virtue, to exercise this desire for holiness, to go to places where those occasions of grace can be fostered and cultivated. Visiting the church, going to an adoration chapel, keeping a rosary in your pocket, keeping a rosary in your car, an image of Our Lady, an image of Jesus in your phone, the way you use your technology, to actually have times where I don't need that and I can actually do something that's a little more holier. What are the occasions of grace in your life? And I challenge you to challenge your kids. Ask yourself, if you were to, in kind of a rough thought experiment of percentages, how much of your day is filled, whether you like it or not, with occasions of sin? And how much of your day is filled with occasions of grace? And are all those things that I plan throughout my day, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, do I have more occasions of grace, more possibilities of holiness than these things that can bring me down? And it actually might just be the same thing. Maybe it's just an attitude of living those things of every single day and living them in a way that I'm actually seeking for grace. I'm seeking to do God's will. I'm seeking to actually sanctify my day. And so when I thought of that, and I was in prayer and I just sat there, I was like, what did I do? I spoke about it in the next conversation with the next person I could talk to. And I brought it up and they were like, Father, that makes so much sense. Why am I living my life with this fear and this stress of like avoiding sin, but actually proactively in a positive way, I am just trying. I can now try to fill my day, fill each hour, and a more intentional seeking of grace. It's harder, probably, but it's more motivating because I'm building. I'm not running away from. I'm building towards something, and I'm seeking God in the daily thing. I can seek God in the mundane because I'm creating these occasions of grace where I can actually flourish in my call to holiness. And so, as parents, as leaders of the home, as leaders in different institutions, can I do that? Can I create the space where the occasions of grace flourish? I'm not imposing this, but I'm creating the space for that to happen. I'm creating an atmosphere of love in my home, of just kindness and goodness and motivation, creating a space where God is actually felt in my home or in the lives of my kids. Can that be something that I seek for? And so I challenge everyone to actually switch, make that flip between avoiding to constructing. Yeah, we will avoid. Yeah, we still have to do that. We still have to fight against those occasions of sin. But let's start working towards building these moments and these spaces and these structures, these experiences of occasions of grace that probably can help me achieve and grow in this holiness that God wants of me in a better and more solid way.